Hey everybody, Brandon McCaskill here with the Brandon McCaskill Show. Thank you so much for watching. This here is a clip from our latest podcast, so I hope you enjoy it. But real quick, before you get started here, I just want to let you guys know that we are viewer supported. That means we rely on the generous donations of people like you who want to get behind what it is we're doing here. And so the way you can give is this email at the bottom of the screen here. You can send an e-transfer to this email, or you can become a monthly member on Patreon, which keeps us supported, keeps the lights on, and helps us continue to create high quality and consistent content. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the episode. Bye now.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, and forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
So the Sarnia Journal covered myself twice and a few others, which I think was actually a political smear. And so kind of to backtrack as to how this podcast idea came to be, well, obviously everybody's probably heard of the assassination of Charlie Kirk in the U.S. And for me, it was devastating. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Like, it's one of those things where you will remember where you were and what you were doing when you heard it. And I was definitely affected by that. But what I was really affected by, Brennan, is the reaction from people on the left to his assassination, which was celebration.
Absolutely. And I would take it one step further. I would say the celebration of my neighbors that this person is dead, or my family members that this person has died.
Yeah.
And that hit me way harder than anything, like even seeing like the horrific videos that came out of it.
Yeah.
Just seeing that my friends and neighbors had said some really awful things. Like at no point would I celebrate anybody dying.
No.
In my whole life.
Yeah, and well, to me, it just communicated very clearly that anyone who even remotely aligns themselves with someone like Charlie Kirk, you deserve to die.
Yeah.
And you had it coming to you, right? We saw the people dancing and celebrating on TikTok about it, but then there was the people who said, you know what, maybe he wasn't, maybe it wasn't right for him to be shot, but, he said some stuff that had it coming. Like, what?
These are the same people that would burn your city down because, somebody was assaulted for wearing something that was too revealing. Yeah. Which, that's the opposite side of this coin here.
Yeah.
Like, you had it coming.
Well, can you just imagine yourself being in a room and someone has a gun to your head and that same person sitting there with his arms crossed saying, well, you had it coming to you. Do you not think he's going to step in and defend your honor? Like, I wouldn't trust that person. Like, gosh, it's,
there's nothing to trust ultimately. I've been really struggling with the idea of forgiveness. And as far as I'm concerned, yes, I have forgiven these people that have done that, but at the same time, it doesn't mean I have to associate with them.
Right.
Because we are divided, and there is a line down the middle of political ideologies. And because of that, I don't think that my opinions or anything I have to say on Facebook is going to matter to them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, forgiveness is really about setting you free and not letting it change who you are. So that's a really good point, because a lot of people think, forgiveness is just for the person you're forgiving. But no, it's such a load off of you when you actually can let something go truthfully and truly. And so that's super important.
I think that's something many people need to hear.
Oh, yeah. But so in response to that, there was a lot of people, especially locally, I've heard from a lot of people since then, just, asking, what can we do? Like, it feels like we need to do something, because people are angry about this because they see themselves in Charlie, and they feel like, enough is enough. Like, it shouldn't come to this point where people are getting shot through the neck because of, expressing different opinions.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. For me, I don't know how it was for you. It was a very just foggy, confusing few days for me. Like, I didn't really know how to handle it. Like,
Day
I didn't know
one,
what I was feeling.
For sure, because there was those hours where we didn't know if he was going to live or die before Donald Trump posted about it. So it was before that time I was like, he'll probably live. We have immense miracles in medical science.
Yeah.
But that was just really not the point. And after it became real, it was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is a game changer. And I would take it one step further. I would say the game really pivoted when Donald Trump was almost shot. It was the same side of the coin.
Right.
It was the leading moment up to Charlie Kirk's death. And if you look at the similarities in those two cases,
right,
that it's too weird. And I'm not going to get conspiratorial because I don't really believe in doing that. But what I would believe in doing is saying we're at a culturally pivotal moment in our society and how we're dealing with politics.
Right.
And we have to remember that with politics, the left wing and the right wing are on the same bird.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a society where we don't have a left wing opinion, or we don't have a left wing part of politics.
No, you need that. You need that. Yeah.
These things have their place. And I think that what they're doing right now is they're hurting themselves.
Yeah. Well, and it's encouraging for me to see even people on the left call those people out for, like, they're saying, what are you guys doing? Like, somebody was just murdered in broad daylight. Right. And so I've seen a lot of those videos. And so I posted on social media a few days ago, and I talk about how, and Paul talks about this. He says how people reject God so much and so consistently that he hands them over to a debased mind. Like, it reaches a point where, because I believe in John chapter 16, it talks about how the Holy Spirit is the comforter, the counselor, but he's also seeking us. He's also like knocking on our heart's door, trying to get us to answer it and accept Christ. And God does that constantly because he loves us. But there comes a point where he goes, okay, you know what? You've said no enough. And so I'm going to back off and, let you be consumed by your own desires. And I think that's what we've seen.
Yeah.
Where I just can't describe the evil.
That is probably one of the biggest evils in Western society that we face right now, that we are a consumerist culture. But at the same time, we try to have a culture that goes, well, you shouldn't be overly consumerist, and you should be more Christian, and you should be more, what would be the word, productive.
Yeah.
But these sins will get you.
Yeah.
And I've been there. You've been there.
Mm-hmm.
We all fall short of the glory of God at the end of the day. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. But we need to work at it.
Yeah.
Every day is a grind. And if you don't grind, you sit there and you get your skip the dishes and you just consume yourself into it.
Well, it's also a humility too. Just like I think that's what, we're humanity. Humanity struggles with humility, and it's bowing the knee, recognizing that, like you said, nobody's perfect. The scriptures say no one is righteous, no, not one. And so what do we do with that? That means we're in trouble on Judgment Day, right? That means the holy God of the universe has every right to just wipe us off the face of the earth. And so we're already condemned. And so I think in humility, we got to recognize that, man, we deserve to be wiped off the face of the earth. And so when we turn to the solution, which you and I understand as Christ on the cross, taking the sacrifice for our sins, that starts to make sense. We go, oh, we're guilty. He took the penalty for that. Oh, it starts to click.
Absolutely.
And so I think humility is actually where it begins, is just recognizing who we are. We're broken. Again, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. And we, that's why we're supposed to be born again. We're all born into brokenness.
The humility aspect, I think you just hit a key point there. With when you understand that you're either your political opponent or your ideological opponent, whatever it may be. I don't even like using that word opponent.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to understand that it's about humility, and that's what they're lacking on their side. But I've always tried really hard to not be discouraged.
Yeah.
Not that I haven't been. I can assure you I have been.
Yeah.
I've been dragged through the mud on so many things. But at the same time, sitting here talking to you, I don't want to do that. I want to be hopeful.
Yeah.
And I want to be one country and one society that gets along with things.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so in response to all this, there was a local gathering, and it was to honor the death of Charlie here in Sarnia. Well, actually, Point Edward, to be more specific. And so that was held under the bridge. And so my friend John put that together, and he was just kind of messaging me, trying to, like, I think he was just venting his ideas to how it was going to go. And somewhere halfway between the conversation, he kind of just slipped the comment, you should read some Bible verses. And I said, well, I'll do you one better. How about I give you a Christian message? Because I think that's what Charlie would...
I think that's what we all needed.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. I showed up. I had it written down because I didn't want to take like 45 minutes doing a sermon. But no, I got to share the gospel. There was close, I think, 300 people. That's what people have been saying, 300 people there.
I'm saying when I was there and it was at its peak, I was like, this is solid 300 people.
It was beautiful. There's, people were holding their candles, and I can't count how many people I hugged and shook their hands that I didn't even know. And my dad ended up playing the pipes.
That was a very beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah,
I'm a big fan of bagpipes.
Man, they make me cry.
Yeah.
But yeah. And John himself, he stood up and gave just a little, because he's not a Christian, but he spoke from his heart saying, hey, listen, we need to learn to agree to disagree again. Like, where did that go?
I really have to say, how blessed are we that these community members, from you to John and Matt and even Bill Dennis and all these people, took their time to put this together. How blessed are we that we were able to pull that off?
Oh, man. That was perfect.
On a hope and a prayer.
It had to be, because, as John said this over and over, like, he's like, this is the first time I'm doing this. I don't know what I'm doing, but it just went beautifully, like as if nobody could have orchestrated it better than God did.
Oh.
And so it was just perfect. But
put people in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. Like, I didn't expect Matt Olson to get up and pray, and I was just like, wow, that was powerful.
Very
so
powerful.
I'm glad he did it. But so that was a successful night, and it was just the perfect night. The sun was just going down. It was like illuminating the bridge in like this goldish hue, and it was just beautiful moment as the pipes are being played. Amazing Grace, and so it was great. And I think it was the next day that most of us turned to our news feed, and there was an article published by the Sarnia Journal. And so I don't want to make any accusations, but there was someone who is on staff, or I'm not even sure what they do at the Journal. They were spotted. They were present at the vigil, and in friendly terms. A friend of mine, exchanged hellos, and they like to keep anonymous, and so he said, hey, I'm not going to tell anybody that you were here. And so lo and behold, the next day, these photos appear, one of which is me kneeling, because we kneeled when we prayed. And so I wanted to read the article because it is a hit piece.
It is a hit piece.
And it just says Journal staff. It doesn't say who wrote it, but I have a feeling I know who it is. And
that was the first thing that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Like what journalist in their right mind would write something and not put their name on it? Like, you're clearly not proud of what you did.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's informative because obviously they were there. They know the details of what happened. And so you guys can find this at the Journal. And so I'll just kind of read it here. It says, let's get to the top here. So it's titled Candlelight and Controversy, the Charlie Kirk Vigil. So what makes this controversial?
That was the first thing I was thinking about, too, is where is the controversy here? That you had your community members who were in sorrow, in mourning, were all hurt and affected by this. And this is your controversy. I don't see it.
Well, obviously they'll bring up the things that Charlie Kirk said that were hateful, but most times, and we've seen this past couple of weeks, most of which are taken out of context and just a complete misrepresentation of what he actually said and meant. And but it's not even our job to defend Charlie.
No,
but because I think every single person would agree that we don't agree with him 100% on everything that he says, but we do recognize he does have the freedom of speech, even if we don't like it.
I don't agree with everything you say either, and you don't agree with everything I say.
We found that out the other night.
Yeah.
We were great examples of how you resolve conflict. It was great.
Through Mortal Kombat.
That's right. That's right. So let's keep reading. So that they just kind of, in my opinion, they poisoned the well with that. And it says, on the evening of September 17th, as the sun dipped behind the Blue Water Bridge in Point Edward, about 300 people gathered to honor Charlie Kirk. For 25 minutes, the vigil unfolded with prayers, speeches, and a moment of silence for the slain conservative figure. I actually like that wording, the slain conservative figure.
Yep, I'll allow it. It was labeled correctly.
Yeah. So, credit where credit is due. While the ceremony was peaceful, the context surrounding its organizers and subject was complex. Man, it's like they had it out for me from the very beginning. And by the way, I wasn't an organizer. I was somebody who was voluntold, and I did it. So that's just, one of those things. So Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, had spent more than a decade as one of the most prominent and controversial voices of the American right. To admirers, he was a dynamic advocate for small government and free market principles. To his detractors, he was a key purveyor of inflammatory rhetoric and dangerous misinformation. That itself is kind of dangerous misinformation, don't you think?
That was the first thing that I saw, that these are very bold statements that they're making with nothing to back it up. Mm. So what statement was misinformation?
Specific.
What thing was dangerous? What was dangerous? If anything, I would say the bullet that caught his neck was the most dangerous thing.
Yeah.
That is not dangerous. He said some words.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be specific. And if we're just going to call and label everybody misinformationalists, then we might as well do that to every single person, because I'm pretty sure none of us have perfect political theology, if you will.
No.
So we're all going to be making mistakes. So I think it's just irresponsible to word things like that, and we got to be specific if we have something in mind. But let's keep going here. Critics have widely accused Kirk of promoting racism, homophobia, and misogyny, and he faced censure for downplaying the severity of COVID-19 and questioning the legitimacy of the 2020 U.S. election. Again, you'd have to go into those things to figure out exactly what he said. And I actually highly recommend people watch his just watch his videos in context. Watch the entire videos, because most times, and I've seen from people that do that, they've just seen clickbait type content from Charlie Kirk, and they go back and watch the entire thing and they go, wow, like this is a completely different story.
Absolutely.
All right. So then it goes on. His life was cut short on September 10th when prosecutors say 22-year-old Tyler Robinson fatally shot him during a campus event in Utah. Robinson now faces multiple charges, including aggravated murder, with prosecutors alleging Kirk was targeted for his political views. The killing immediately raised questions about Robinson's ideology. Early reports with conflicting claims have since been walked back by investigators who say Robinson's true politics remain murky.
Hold the phone. Right there. What was murky about his political affiliations?
I don't know, man.
What? Like seriously, they have everything. They have it all on Discord service.
It was from the beginning too. Like, we knew this stuff, not immediately, but it was pretty early on we learned this stuff.
Yeah, because they found the gun right away, and so they had the
bullet casings that had the what was it?
Well, we'll just say left-wing rhetoric.
Yeah, rhetoric
that was on them.
Stuff that you would only learn from like CNN and MSNBC type of rhetoric. But
sorry, I had to point that out.
No, it's good. And I'm not going to read this entire thing because legally I don't even know if I'm supposed to. But I just want to give you some context there, and then scroll down to where it talks about me here, because it does talk about Mallet. That's my friend John. And let's see here. Yeah, let's go to this part. It says, the next speaker, Brandon McCaskill, delivered the centerpiece of the vigil, a sermon-style address on Christianity and forgiveness. McCaskill is a divisive local figure.
I've known you a few years now. Like, I think that's one of the nice parts about what we're doing is, like, outside of our political interest, we'd probably never talk to each other.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I think it'll make for an interesting conversation on what we do. But I haven't seen you really say anything that controversial or that wrong, or like
Depends on who you are, I guess.
I've never seen you say something that goes, "Oh my goodness, that guy is crazy."
Well, when I first read this article, I posted it, just this part, and I said, "Thank you." Like, yeah, divisive, because Christians are supposed to be. That's what Jesus said. He says, "I come not to bring peace, but a sword, to pin father against mother and sister against brother." And so the truth will do that. The truth will divide, facts from lies. And, so I take that kind of as a compliment, but I know you didn't mean it to be a compliment. So
yeah,
and
that's fine. I think you're absolutely correct. That hits the nail on the head. That Christ did not come.
No, it wasn't for peace.
He came with the sword, and the
metaphorically. Calm down.
No. Nobody's gonna get hurt. We ain't hurting nobody.
That's right. And so it says, McCaskill is a divisive local figure who runs the 2,500-member Facebook group Sarnia Opinions, Discussions, and Debates, which was previously known as Politics for Sarnians and later Momentum Sarnia. The group has been accused by critics of amplifying conspiracies and vitriol.
Who are these critics? Like,
who are these critics? I want to know you. It's the Reddit gang.
It's like creating an argument from authority. Yeah. Critics.
Yeah.
People with university degrees, critics.
Yeah.
It's like when the government says top people, we got our top people working on it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the timeline here. Sarnia Opinions, Discussions, Debates, yeah. Yeah, because the chronology of that is I had 2 different Facebook groups. Yeah. And one was banned because people kept reporting it. And just so everybody knows, I've been running this Facebook group for politics with the idea of just allowing everyone to speak their piece. Without, despite me disagreeing with you, I'll just leave it. I'm not going to censor you. And there's obviously Facebook parameters where, Facebook won't allow certain languages or certain language to be spoken.
Yeah.
And so we got to abide by their rules. But ultimately, I just want that true person on the other side of the computer to show their true colors. And because I think that's helpful.
I think that is helpful. And it's local based. This is not some international Twitter page where you could be nameless, right?
Well, because we want to know who we want to vote for, who we want to do business with, who we want to be friends with, who we want to let our kids around, right? And so I think this is helpful information. And so when people on the on the group, they'll see somebody say something pretty mean and rude to somebody, and I'll go, okay, yeah, I disagree with that too, but I'm respecting his freedom of speech to show his true colors. Like, if anything, that should cause the civil people to stand up to him and say, hey, you're being a jerk.
Absolutely. Right? Now, I guess I would have a question for you about that Facebook group that you operate. What are your intentions behind that? What is the main thing that drives you to do that? Because this is not the first one you've had. You said you lost one already, which I remember that.
Yeah, because actually during the pandemic, I was a big advocate on conversation because nobody knew anything. We were throwing numbers around. We were throwing ideas around about what was the best, way to function in our society, and, with lockdowns and mandates and all these things. And it seemed like anybody who challenged the mainstream perspective was shut down. And we saw that at, across, around the world, basically.
Absolutely.
Doctors being censored and all that type of stuff. And so all I wanted was, as a father, I have 3 kids now, but I had one at the time who was, very ill, and he still is. And so me and my wife were seriously thinking through these questions of what is the best thing for us and our family? And when your attempt to start a conversation just gets slapped down automatically and not taken seriously, that was aggravating.
Very much so.
And that was happening locally. And I came across this page. Remind me what Steve Lochton's page is called.
I don't think I know that guy.
I blank on it. I know it when I see it.
That's okay. Just move on.
Politics and governance, something like that. So, Sarnia Politics and Governance. And so I was having a discussion on there. And it took me it was all day. I was having this fruitful discussion with this woman about like pandemic stuff. I'll just say that so the algorithm stays happy. And we were both super, cordial and, respectful to one another. And all of a sudden, at like 6 p.m., I see that entire thread get deleted. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? And the admin says, this has been debunked already.
You have violated the standards.
Oh, my goodness. So that kind of like angered me a bit. I'm like, we need something else. We need something else where, there's not going to be trigger happy admins. Just, deleting things that they disagree with and say it was debunked. And so I created that space. It was the Politics for Sarnians. And we're going to get into Nathan's. So Nathan writes another article 4 days later, and he actually puts his name on it.
Yeah, he did.
And he goes into critique the evolution of my pages. So we'll read that right now. Just briefly, I won't read the whole thing again, but you can check this out, I'm sure. The title is Another Month, Another Rebrand from Sarnia's Political Chameleon.
Is that a fair assessment of who you are, just based on the fact that your politics has been the same since the day I met you?
That, and it's so ironic because, and I can probably, if you don't believe me, I can bring up my friends who will attest to the fact that I've referred to him as a chameleon over and over again, and for good reason. Because he tends to snuggle up to you, pretend you're all friendly, and then he writes stuff like this the next day.
Yeah.
Just last week, he was like, "Oh, Brandon, we have a conversation on taps happening soon. We got to have you out." And because he understands that I can't be out because I have an immunocompromised son that, my family and I try to live pretty safely around, or not around crowds of people. And so he was basically saying, hey, before the summer ends, not a lot of people are sick, which that's not true because school's back in and a lot of people are sick. But no, he was super friendly. Like, yeah. we got to have you. And then this happens. Like, that seems almost bipolar.
Allegedly. It
seems.
I'm
not saying it is.
But speaking of intentions, like what is his intentions behind all of this, right? Like that, I think that's a big question that anybody who reads that should ask themselves.
Yeah.
Is it because he's worried that you will have a voice? Why is it okay that he has a voice, but if you have a voice, that's a bad idea?
Yeah, the only thing I've been able to figure out from Nathan is that, because we both went to the same church when we were younger, and I don't know what his experience was, I only know mine, but I came out of that experience not blaming God for the things that happened, but I blamed imperfect Christians. And that's how things ought to be, because they don't represent who Christ is. We play Christ poorly. So it's kind of like, and there's this saying that people say, like, if Beethoven, or no, it's not Beethoven's fault if somebody plays Beethoven poorly, right?
That's right.
And so many people do that with church. They have bad experiences, and whether it's from, noticeable hypocrisy or whatever it is, they tend to point the finger at God for them playing Jesus poorly.
The first rule of Christianity is we all fall short of the glory of God.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't accept that, then have you fully grasped what the concept of Christianity is?
Yeah, exactly.
You can know all the scripture in the world, but if you don't understand that to your heart, then you're missing the big piece.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't understand. I've just been able to garner just little pieces of the interactions that I have had with Nathan is that he just hates white Christians. And we're going to get into what I mean, because I don't mean to just be, inflammatory there, because he uses those words. He brings up my skin color.
Yeah.
But,
which is,
he's a mystery. But he's not at the same time, because I see what he's up to. He's just trying to dismantle the Western idea of basically what we were built on, which is Christianity.
And, I mean, yeah, go on with the article, because, I mean, we've gone on to just the topic so far, but there's a lot.
We forgot to hit our clock, but that's all right.
That's okay. I'm paying attention.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that was the title, and it says, in his latest column, Nathan Calhoun, okay, so that's just the summary there. So let's go down. So Yeah, he says, there's an old saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. In Sarnia's online political scene, it seems if you don't have a movement, you'll just borrow one from the United States. Brandon McCaskill, the serial rebrander behind the Facebook group formerly known as Politics for Sarnians, then Momentum Sarnia, and most recently Sarnia Opinions, Discussions, and Debates, has found his new calling. The group, a gathering place for right-wing memes and grievances, has been christened Turning Point Sarnia. So the true current chronology of that, like I said, is two different groups. One was banned. So there was two names, and the first name was really lame, just Politics for Sarnians. And somebody told me that. They're like, you need to change it. So I was like, all right. So I rebranded it to Momentum Sarnia because my YouTube channel was called Momentum Canada.
Yeah.
And I was just like, let's keep it consistent. And so I thought it was cool. And there's no other, ulterior motive to that. It was just as simple as that. And then that group got taken down, and then I fired up a group that was handed to me, actually. I don't know if you know, what's his name? Greg McConkey.
No, I can't say
He's kind of an activist here in Sarnia. He's on the environmentalist committee, I think. But he was running a group for a long time that had quickly become like just a place where people dump spam, like business opportunities and every link you can think of. And so when him and I were getting along, apparently we don't get along anymore.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. We got to do that for legal purposes. He approached me one day and was just like, hey, I want to hand the keys over to you with this group. And I said, sure, why not?
Yeah,
and so for almost, I think it was a year and a half had gone by where like I was approving people's posts and doing this, and I was just approving everything like business opportunities. I didn't pay much attention to it. It was just kind of an annoyance that would show up on my phone. But, over the time I built it. It was 700 followers when he gave it to me, and I built it to like 1,200. And so when my page tanked because somebody reported it over and over and over again, and Facebook just finally gave us the boot.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right. I went into that group that Greg had given me, and I was just like, hey, you guys are free to stay if you want, but I'm going to convert this into a politics page, and so have fun. But that's what's going on. And so it gave me kind of a better motivation to not be so grudging towards those notifications anymore. So it kind of
more exciting.
It was more exciting. So that's where that group came to be, and I called it Sarnia Politics Debates and Discussions. Do I have those backwards? But then with the recent Charlie Kirk thing, I was just like, because we were angry. I was angry, and it's a righteous anger. We can talk about that. Christians can be angry. That's what Paul says in Ephesians 4. I think he says, be angry, but do not sin. Right? If a child gets hurt, we should be angry if that was done on purpose, right? So Christians can be angry, and so out of my anger, I was motivated to do something. Like many people are kind of asking themselves right now, like, what can we do? And
what do you do with that anger? Because it's one of those things that will take over you if you let it.
Yeah. And so even before the thought of this podcast, I was just like, well, I just want to let Sarnia know that, I'm one of them. I'm one of them that wants to do something. So I changed my name to honor Charlie Kirk, and that I didn't know what that was going to lead to. I was just like, that's the first step.
Yeah.
And I changed it to Turning Point Sarnia just to honor him. And from a legal standpoint, people have been asking, like, is that, are you going to get sued for that because you're taking their name and their logo? And the truth is we've reached out to Turning Point USA, and they just haven't gotten back. I've heard that they've received, this was last week that I heard they received 60,000 requests for chapters opening.
And I highly doubt they'll care, to be honest. And
that's the other thing.
There's so many different groups out there using Turning Point as well. Like this is a major international movement. Despite what anybody is saying, this is not just something that is in the United States, and that Canada is symbiotic with the United States. In fact, I always say, can you name for me one thing in Canada that isn't U.S.?
Yeah.
Even maple syrup.
That's true.
They have maple syrup all along the eastern seaboard of the United States. It's not Canadian specific. If you want to talk about the fur trade, well, the fur trade was applicable to the United States. You want to talk about anything we've done, they've done.
Yeah.
And then if you want to take it down culturally, all the television and movies that anybody consumes is all from the United States.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for Canadian broadcast rules forcing the Tragically Hip on the radio airwaves, like a band that hasn't been around in how many years? Like 10 years almost?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so it's still playing on the radio with like top 10s because there's a music quota requirement.
Right.
So everything that we do in our society is directly linked to the U.S. And in fact, if you took somebody from a foreign land and put them over on both sides of the border, they probably wouldn't even notice the difference.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, and so we've been in contact, and it's a good point that you brought up. Because if they like wanted to sue us, like, do you really think they'd spend the millions of dollars to sue internationally, first of all, and then take somebody to court who aligns with their views? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But so I've been in discussion with a couple of paralegals that I'm friends with, and so there's some things that I might adjust. We'll see. But for now, I'm kind of happy with things. But we'll see how. Hopefully, they reach out soon. But because, like I said, they're just busy, and we're going to figure out how we can, make it official. Bring a chapter to Sarnia. I think that'd be pretty cool. And that's kind of the evolution of that. And so I apologize because there's noises coming from my computer, but
I can't hear it. But okay. With the article, I guess we did get a little bit off topic there, but
no, it's okay. Yeah. So I'm not going to read the entire thing. You can read that from Nathan Calhoun, but he just it's a smear. And let me just read a little bit more. It says, if that name rings a bell, it should. It's a direct nod to Turning Point USA, the hyper-partisan, mega-aligned organization founded by the late Charlie Kirk. This isn't a subtle homage. It's a full-on franchise play. Ooh.
Franchise.
McCaskill's announcement declared he would be carrying on the legacy and ideas that Charlie integrated into his movement. This is the point I wanted to touch on because this is deceptive journalism. So he quoted half of what I said. So in my post where I was announcing to the group that this is what I was doing, this isn't the entire thing that I said. Just bear with me. There we go. So it says, I will be carrying on the legacy and ideals that Charlie integrated into his movement, which was based on the idea that the free exchange of ideas and the right to disagree are healthy things for society. So Nathan didn't include the entire sentence. And so this is what prompted me to go to social media. Yeah, as a part of like marketing this podcast, I was just like, hey, we're going to be an alternative to just the lying media. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't, whoops, I accidentally left out half the sentence. He did this intentionally to paint a specific picture. And it's a hard thing to have respect for.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that in the sense that what's the point of what he's doing here? You are a citizen of Sarnia. You have legitimate ideas and you have legitimate feelings about, I mean, that may sound like overly leftist or something, but it's true though. You like everything that we feel is legitimate, just like how he feels is legitimate.
Yeah.
Like we don't agree with it, but he's allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's okay.
It is okay.
You need to calm down. Yeah. It's okay to disagree.
Calm down.
And so I'm going to skip a bunch and go down to the bottom. It says, now the importation is even more overt. And with the new brand comes a new business model. McCaskill recently posted a plea for his followers to commit $3 plus per month to support high-quality content that articulates their shared Christian conservative values. He complains that the local media, and he specifically names the Sarnia Journal, is failing to provide accurate information, quote unquote. Well, I just showed you how it was inaccurate information and intentionally designed to deceive. But to quickly do another fact check here about the $3 plus per month, is my original post was to my followers on my own personal page, asking, because I do other content online. I do live streams on TikTok all the time, do Bible teachings and stuff like that. I was basically asking them, hey, if I committed my time to something like this, would you guys consider being like kind of my force behind me to keep it going consistently? And right after that, I said, by the way, it's free. Like, you can watch this free, but if you really enjoy what I do, could you picture yourself supporting me that way?
Of course.
And I just wanted to see like a show of hands, because I wasn't about to invest in this equipment that we invested in if it wasn't going to land, if it wasn't going to be something consistent. And man, when Nathan took those posts that I made and started smearing me in the Journal, it actually exploded the crowdfunding. Like there was a guy that messaged me. I never knew him beforehand. And he says, hey, Brandon, forget $3. How can I send you $100? He's like, and tell Nathan I said thanks for, advertising for you.
And that's blessings right there.
That's, is this consistent theme of, what the enemy uses for evil, God uses for good. And so it's unfortunate. And so that's that article. I'll leave that one alone. But I just wanted to, and we'll touch on this just briefly. Mm-hmm. And I won't read the entire thing because it's so long. But I just want to kind of show you where someone like Nathan is at. Because I think he just gets pretty desperate for attention. And I don't mean to be, belittling the guy, because I don't know how else to describe it. I pray for him. I pray that, God reaches his soul, because I'm pretty sure, because he's come after pastors. I'm friends with pastors that they've had their own run-ins with Nathan, and he's, not treated them very nicely. And so I don't know what the solution is, because like we were talking about before, how God hands us over to a depraved mind. Yeah. But I think as the body of Christ, we can pray for someone like Nathan.
We could, absolutely.
We can pray for somebody like Nathan for God to not give up on him. And I hope that Nathan would experience the love of Christ through Christians like us, because I think that's the only thing that's going to work.
It absolutely is. And we will pray for him. And he will, he's going to do what he's going to do at the end of the day. Yeah. And it's a damn shame that he portrayed you in such a way, because you are an absolute gentle giant of a soul. Like, you couldn't hurt a fly, I don't think.
Oh, I've tried.
You've tried?
Yeah. Well, so here's Nathan Callahan. This is his poem. He tagged me in it, and he said, I wrote you a poem, Brandon. And it's a picture of me kneeling. This is me kneeling at the Vigil, and I'm praying. And so, again, I won't read this. It says, I offer a lesson to my white comrades who certainly don't go out of their way to read my poems, but might for a moment if I get personal. This one is to the dude who has nothing else to care about, no purpose, no deeper anything but your whiteness, and what little wealth you lean on while protecting it at all costs, because your family, or at least believe family, is being attacked or silenced. And so I got to see where I got to stop reading, because there's some inappropriate language here. In case your kids are watching, those of you who bow down to your God you believe is on your side, and you who thinks that mental illness is a difference of view on gender. And so, yeah, I'll stop right there. But this is unhinged, man.
Isn't that first part interesting? What was it he said? My
whiteness?
If I talk about somebody, then perhaps nobody reads my poems, but if I talk about this person, then they'll read my poems.
That's what I sense from Nathan. Like, he tries to hit people in the shin so that they'll pay attention to him. Yeah. Right?
Maybe he's just in love with you.
That's one of the theories. But no, I think, I can't figure it out. It's almost like that. It's almost like the boy on the playground that throws sticks and rocks at the girl that he likes.
Yeah. That's exactly the metaphor. And he even told us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he confirmed that today. I can't remember where, but he said something along those lines. But anyways, that is the saga. I felt that was necessary to bring up, because it was all leading up to the genesis of this podcast. And so, and Sarnia is a small community and people talk. And so I just figured, it's probably worth to spend some time. I'm not if there's a response tomorrow about our podcast in the Journal, I'm not going to be replying to every single thing. I just don't think it's worth our time. I think there's a lot of things we need to be talking about in terms of city politics. So I want to keep that focus pretty sharp. So, yeah.